Good morning, everyone. So let's see, let's find me so that I can see comments. With StreamYard, I can only see comments from my group and not comments from my regular personal page, which I like to check on occasion. So this is actually, I love this topic. I love this topic because it's been so much part of what I've done. So for those of you who don't know me, I didn't start as a soulful success coach, or I didn't start out helping healers and transformational entrepreneurs and coaches um, grow their business and bring their gifts to the world. I started out as a therapist. So I've essentially been a licensed therapist for about 20 years now, almost. Well, I haven't been licensed for 20 years. It took me quite a few years of internships and gathering hours before I could be licensed. But I've been working as a therapist for about 20 years. And then I moved into working mainly with entrepreneurs, both internally for their internal stuff and also to help them grow their business. And so this idea of the stuff that gets in the way, the things that come up for us, I'm familiar with it. I'm familiar with it both as a therapist, and I'm also familiar with it from the perspective of an entrepreneur myself. I feel all these things. And so, what we're going to talk about today is how to heal, release, make whole all these blocks and limiting beliefs and the woundings that we have, the fears that we have, and how to step into what I call sovereignty. Because success, whether it's success in our lives or whether it's success in our business, does require both. It requires that we move through what keeps us stuck, what keeps us small, what keeps us hiding out, and that we also step into what allows us to show up powerfully, boldly, and to share unapologetically with the world what we're here to share. So both of those things are going to come in play, and I'm going to talk to you guys about both of those. Um, I'm very familiar with all those things that hold us back. And a lot of entrepreneurship, in many ways, a lot of taking our gifts and sharing them with the world, is becoming aware, first and foremost, of what gets in our way and how we're holding ourselves back, and then finding a kind, compassionate, effective way to move through that. I was talking to a client a couple weeks ago about all these wounded, scared parts that come up. And what happens, entrepreneurship in many ways is like a spiritual practice. It is going to bump up and trigger all your shit, everything you've got going on, all the struggles you've got around fear of visibility, not being good enough, not feeling special enough, not feeling ready enough, anything around rejection, self-sabotage, abandonment, being criticized. All of that is going to come up to the forefront about people not wanting what we have, about not being ready or good enough to bring people to a result. All that stuff comes up. And it comes up in the present, and it also comes up from stuff from the past. And so I'm going to give you some stories here of some of my clients and what's, like stuff that's been holding them back. And I'm going to give you examples of my own as well. So, it doesn't matter how long you've been at it. It doesn't matter how long you have been an entrepreneur, whether you're just starting out or whether you've been at it for years. Those blocks, those struggles, those limiting beliefs, they're going to come up, and they're going to come up over and over and over. So maybe that's the bad news, is you're never totally, completely free of them. I do think that they come up. It's a little bit like, they come up on layers. We're like an onion. At first, a big one comes up, and then it's more subtle, and it's more subtle. And every time you up level yourself in your business, new fears, new blocks, or old ones just at a subtle level keep coming up. And I'm going to give you an example. So this weekend, so I've been, as I shared, I've been an entrepreneur. I mean, in my counseling business, I worked for someone else for maybe the first 5 years. And then after that, I've been working for myself. So I've literally been an entrepreneur for 15 years. And it's only recently in the last few years that I've moved more online. But I'm not new to being an entrepreneur. And I've worked with entrepreneurs for many, many, many years. So I'm not new to that as well. And so this weekend, I was in a training with my coach. And in the introduction of the training, like within 10 minutes in, she mentions how she's going to, throughout the training, she's going to break us up in breakout groups. And suddenly I got super tired. Like, couldn't stop yawning. Like, I felt like this thing had dropped on top of me. Like, I barely could keep my eyes open. I felt drained. I felt like I needed a nap right now. And at first, I didn't catch on to it. And I was like, man, it's just a week. It's been a busy week. Maybe I should just forget this. If I'm not going to be able to stay awake through the training, what's the point? And I should just go and read my book, take a nap, just do what I need to do to take care of myself. I just felt so heavy and drowsy. And then I realized in that moment that actually I had felt fine before my coach mentioned going into breakout groups. And the moment that she mentioned that heaviness, that drowsiness came over me. And I realized that this actually was resistance. It wasn't actually me being tired. It was something within me that when this little one within me, heard that I was going to have to go and talk to multiple people and be in breakout rooms, she freaked out. And so I took a few minutes at that moment to go through the process I'm going to teach you today and to kind of meet what was going on inside me and work through my stuff, essentially. And what I realized when I touched into this part of me, like, all these things came up around visibility. And, what if all these people I'm in a group with are much further ahead of me? What if they think my work is shit? What if they criticize or judge me or make fun of me? Things that don't, like, it's like, I know no one's going to feel that way or say anything mean or be unsupportive. I know most of these people. And yet something in me was like, oh no, danger, shut down. I don't want to do that. And so I took this time. At this point, I've been doing this practice for a very long time. So it doesn't take me very long. It literally takes me 3, 4, 5 minutes, maybe a little more if I'm really triggered. But I was able to just meet this part of me, let her know that she was safe, let her know that I had her back, and validate her feelings. The truth is, it's true. Maybe somebody's not going to like my work. Maybe somebody's going to be way ahead of me in terms of where they're at in their business. All of that's possible. So I validated her feelings and I let her know that I'm here. I'm here for her. I'm here with her, and I'm going to have her back. And then I stepped in my sovereignty. I stepped into this inner light that I have, into this presence, into this calm, into this certainty, into this expansiveness. And I was able to move forward with the training from that place. And I'm going to tell you, I'm really glad I did, because I had this major breakthrough this weekend that's been kind of haunting me for a long time and holding me back. And if I had decided to follow through with my woundedness and to stop myself and to just shut down the computer and just go do me, I would have missed on that. And a lot of growth and transformation in business comes from being able to kindly move through our stuff so that we can show up as that sovereign being, that sovereign leader that is already within us and is what is needed for success. Okay, so before I go straight into the content, for those of you who don't know me, let me introduce myself. I'm Ilsa Comtier. I help soulful entrepreneurs, healers, coaches who feel stuck, who feel frustrated, who feel overwhelmed, to become the sovereign leaders of their lives and their business, and to discover their own unique and sacred way to more clients, more money, more impact, and a lot more ease and enjoyment in the process. Because if you don't love it, it's not success. So if that feels like you, if that feels interesting, I offer free Soulful Success activation sessions where I spend an hour of my time with you. It's not a sales call. It's you and I meeting and me getting a sense of who you are, what you want to achieve, what you want to create in the world, and giving you some tools and tips on how to either start or get to that next level so that you can have a greater impact on the world and make more money. So if that feels fun to you, if that feels interesting, put hashtag brainstorm in the comments, or send me a DM, send me a message in Messenger. I'm super approachable and I love to talk about this stuff. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the content. The road to freedom, the road to joy, the road to fulfillment in our business usually comes from a couple different movements. It comes from the movement of meeting and supporting what's holding us back, like all the stuff that comes up. And I don't care who you are, I don't care how long you've been doing this. As stated, all of us have stuff that comes up. Our business is a spiritual playground. It's literally a path of liberation in many ways. It's not just a path of making more money. It's not just a path of transforming lives. Of course, it is both these things, but it is a path of transforming ourselves. I have been a spiritual practitioner, a meditator since I was a teenager. So we're talking like almost 30 years. And nothing has opened me up. Nothing has stretched me more than doing this, stepping online, going live, having to sell myself, having to own my gifts and know that I can change people's lives, and being bold with it and offering my services to people. All of that is a stretch for me. It's always been a stretch for me. It's easier now, but I've had to work through a lot of stuff to get there. So if I've done it, if I do it, so can you. So that first movement is being able to meet and support something within us that feels stuck. Like, that's the first thing you've got to do. The second movement is stepping in faith and trust and sovereignty. So there's two things. There's always a part of us that's stuck, and then there's the part of us that's expansive and has direct access to source, direct access to wisdom, direct access to all the support and resources we already have. And being able to marry those and then take courageous action. So there's the inner work of meeting our woundedness and anchoring into our sovereignty and anchoring into the powers that be, the support that is always here, the aliveness, the wisdom, the creativity, the abundance that's always here, and taking action. Because without action, there's no change, there's no transformation. So it's like two wings of a bird. You do the inner work and then you do the outer work. A bird can't fly, let alone soar, if it doesn't have these two wings. And this is the two wings of success. You do the inner work, you do the outer work. You move and connect to what needs to happen on the inside so that you can take powerful, inspired, courageous action. So the first thing that I need you to realize so that you can do this process is that your blocks, your fears, your wounds, your stuckness, your limiting beliefs, none of them are the enemy. Usually, when these things come up, they come up for two reasons. One, especially at first, they come up to keep us safe. And I'm going to share some stories right after this of some of my clients and some of what they've had to work through. And, these parts of us are there. They're doing a good job trying to keep us safe, trying to keep us comfortable, trying to keep us alive in some ways. For those of us who are healers, wise women and wise men, and in the woo, spiritual and transformational, it wasn't that long ago that when you stepped out of the norm, when you shared these things, you were stoned, you were burned at the stake, you were attached to a rock and thrown in deep water. And shit, if you sank, well, then you were saved. And if you swam, then you were a witch. So no matter what, you had no way out. There's something within us, call it the witch's wound, that essentially says, hey, you start putting yourself out there, especially if what you're saying is out of convention a little bit, and you're going to be harmed. You're going to struggle. You're going to be pushed out, abandoned, or ostracized, or even attacked. So it's very normal that those fears come up. They come up to keep us safe. And the other thing they come up with is they come up to be liberated, to be made whole. The thing I want you to keep in mind is that all these wounds, all these stuck places that we have, they essentially hold energy. They hold energy that once we start unwinding them and loosening them, we can actually start using that energy for our benefit, for moving forward. Um, Let me tell you a few stories. So I'm working with a woman from Muslim descent, and one of the things that hold her back is this concept of what will my family think? What will my husband think? I'm supposed to be at home taking care of the kids in my family, in my culture. Like, it's not okay to be out there boldly and to make sharing my gifts and building a business a priority. What if my family disowns me? What if my husband gets mad at me because I'm making more money, or I'm behind on cleaning the house, or whatever it may be? These are things that are coming up for her. And these are real fears that she's got to move through. I've had two people, one friend of mine and actually recently a client of mine, who shared that no one came to their birthday party. And so the sense there is, what if I create something? What if I create an event, a workshop, and no one wants it? No one comes. I'll be so humiliated. I'll be so disappointed. And so this is a wound from the past that comes up and haunts us in the present, haunts us in our business. I have a client whose mother comes from a really rough background, and whose mother, who was a drug addict and an alcoholic, used to tell her, um, you weren't good enough for Santa to bother coming back. She never had presents at Christmas when she was young. And her mother would say, that's because you were bad. Because you were bad, Santa didn't come. And so there's this sense that she's had to work through of not being good enough, of being bad, of being unworthy in some ways. Or I have a client who talked about getting up to the front of the class to do a presentation and tripping, and everybody laughing at me, and laughing at him. And from this point forward, not feeling like he could fully step up and share what he had to share, because he was going to be made fun of, or he was going to be ridiculed or criticized. Some of mine, most of you don't know this because you're seeing me online, but I'm very tiny. I'm like 4'9". I weigh like 85 pounds. And I've had multiple people throughout my childhood and my teenage years tell me different aspect of, you're way too small, no one's going to take you seriously. Or my mom sometimes would say, in meaning to, trying to be nice, oh, you could be really pretty if you tried. And I'm not one of these people who wears makeup and, gets dressed up and all of that. We all have wounds that either are real today or are from the past, and they come up in our business. They come up, one, to keep us safe, and they come up to be liberated. So know that that's normal. Know that that's part of the process of growth and transformation. And our job as sovereign beings, in some ways, is to use this business, because this business, being a healer, being a transformational coach, being a soulful entrepreneur, is not just about transforming others out there. It's also about transforming ourselves. It's not just about liberating and growing the consciousness of the world. It's also about liberating and growing our own consciousness. They go together. You can't transform others if you're not transforming yourself. You can't increase and and evolve the world and the consciousness of the world if you're not, evolving your own consciousness. You can't liberate others if you're not liberating yourself. We literally, our business is a mirror of who we are. So, the first step is you want to realize that when a block's coming up, when a wounding's coming up, it's not you. It's a part of you. It's an aspect of you. It's usually a small one within you that is afraid, that is overwhelmed, that is stuck and feeling unworthy or feeling like they can't and hiding out. The reason I say this is because we can't help ourselves. We can't release ourselves if we merge with the part of us who's struggling. Then we're just that and nothing else, which is why a huge part of my process is even when you're in struggle, in overwhelm, in procrastination, in fear, in anxiety, you have to be able to say, oh, something in me is struggling, and then find your anchor, find your center. So that's step one. I'm going to move through this process. When you get triggered in business or in life, to be honest, you can use this whenever. When you get triggered, because you will, when something happens and you feel like you can't move forward, or you're self-sabotaging, or you're getting in your own way, or you're not doing what you know you should be doing to have the results you want, then I want you to turn within and realize that it's not you, it's something in you that is essentially waving at you and saying, hey, I'm stuck, I'm scared, help, help. Something in you is overwhelmed, something in you is stuck, something in you is afraid. When you have that and you realize it's just a part of you, then I want you to find your center. I want you to find your center, this sense of depth, of calm, of certainty, of sovereignty that is already within you. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Almost like an expansive sense of being. And this sense of being is directly connected to source. It's directly connected to everything that is, to abundance, to creation, to life. So I like this idea of finding your center, because to find your center, you literally need 2 points. The only way you're a center is if there's 2 points. So when I think of a center, and what I teach my clients when I'm working through that, is their center is located between 2 points. It's the light within. Their center is the light within, and the light within is located between the light below and the light above. So the light below, you can think of it like as the heart of Gaia, the heart of the earth. It signifies life, creation, abundance, resilience. And it's essentially the powers that be that help us breathe, heal our wounds, create our bodies. It's directly related to the physical realm. There's wisdom there, there's creation there, there's abundance there, there's resilience, healing, wholeness there. So when you're trying to find your center, you want to connect for a second to this core of the earth that is supporting you, that is below you, that is feeding you, that has created this environment that creates just the right amount of air, H2O, oxygen for you to breathe. So that's the light below. And then there's the light above. The light above, you can, if you're not religious, you can think of it as the light of the sun, which lights our way, feeds us, nourishes, warms us. And if you're spiritual, you can think of it as just the grace, the love, the support, the wholeness of divine presence. And you want to tune to that. You want to tune to the fact that you're always supported, you're always guided. It's almost like this light is showering you, whether it's the light of the sun or the light of the divine, it doesn't matter. It's showering you, it's holding you. And so there you are. You are the light within, and you are cradled between the light below and the light above. And right there, you're in the middle. And the light within is your own sovereign being. It's your soul. It's literally it emerged out of these two lights, the light of life and creation and the light of the divine. And you want to connect to that light inside. And you want to feel and know that you are supported. There's light all around you. I call this practice sitting in the light. There's the light below, the light above, there's the light behind you. You can think of that as your ancestors, all the wisdom you've gathered throughout the ages, throughout your years. There's the light in front of you. That's your life, your destiny, your gifts, your calling you forth, showing you the way. And there's even light to the side of you. It's almost like you're cradled, held in this bubble of light, and there's light within. And the light to the side of you is just there to have your sides, to move with you, to protect you, to let you know. I think of it sometimes like I've got two angels next to me, and they're here to let me know I'm not on my own, and the wisdom is available. And something about being able to sit in this light and connect to this light inside me, I can step into my sovereignty. I can step at that moment into the fact that I am here for a reason, and that I have something powerful to share, and that I am good. At essence, in core, I am good, and so are you. When I'm anchored into that center, when I'm centered, then I can start meeting my wounds. Thank you, Sharon. Sharon says, so beautiful. It is beautiful. It's also beautiful to experience. And so you can do that in whatever ways feels right for you. Just in meditation, connecting to your heart, connecting to the divine above, connecting to the fact that there's the earth below that feeds you, nourish you, and just imagining all this light around you, the light of your loving ancestors, the light of your guides, the light of all the people who've come before you, the light of your clients who are waiting for you. Whatever that looks like for you, just know that there's wisdom, that there's support, that there's goodness, and it's inside you and it is all around you. When you are centered in that place, then you are ready to meet the part of you that is stuck. So what you want to do at that point is, when you feel centered, you want to go back to that part. And by the way, the sitting in the light can happen in a couple minutes. It doesn't have to take a whole lot of time. Once you feel grounded, centered in your own self, in your own sovereignty, in your own calm, then you meet the part of you that's afraid. And you could, what I often do is I feel where I feel that. Sometimes I feel it in my belly. Sometimes I feel it in my throat. A lot of the time I feel it in my chest. And I'll just put a hand where I feel that resistance, where I feel that fear, where I feel that stuckness or that drain. For me, I feel a lot, oftentimes, like I feel like my energy's been drained and like I just want to bury myself. So I'll put my hands on myself in some way just to offer support. And I'll connect to that sense of something small inside me that feels like all of this is too much. That feels like it doesn't know how. It's too scary. That feels like it's too vulnerable. It's too small. It's not worthy or good enough. It's unsafe to put myself out there. Or a part of me that feels unsupported, unmet, unloved. And my job is not to fix it. My job is just to say, hey, little one, I see you. I'm right there with you. Yeah, and validate. This is the first thing. Once you've met your center and you're anchored in your center, then the next step for you is you want to be in a place where you're meeting that wounded part and you're validating its experience. So your job is to simply be in sovereignty and at the same time feel this part of you that's asking for support, that is stuck. Feel the disappointment, feel the fear, feel the overwhelm, feel the resistance, feel the wanting to play small and hide out, feel the resentment, feel all of it. And then validate the experience. You cannot support and liberate your pain if you are stuck becoming your pain. So you have to stay grounded in your own light to be able to essentially bring light to yourself. A little bit like you have to be towards your pain the way you would be towards your best friend. If your best friend was sitting right next to you crying, you would feel his or her pain, but you wouldn't be so merged with it that you wouldn't be able to be there and support him or her. So that's your job. You have to essentially be anchored in your own sovereignty and at the same time be your own best friend, offer support to yourself. So once you're sitting with this part of you that's afraid, you validate its feeling. Yeah, it's scary, isn't it? I feel you. Yes, this is a lot, isn't it? Yeah, it's not really fair, right? And then you can even validate its experience from the place of, I'm so sorry you're going through this. I'm so sorry this is so difficult. I say that to myself all the time. When I have to go live or I have to do something and it feels too much, it feels scary, I'll tell myself all the time, I'm so sorry this is so hard. I'm with you. I know how difficult this is. I'm so sorry you're afraid. I'm so sorry this is so much and we keep having to stretch and do more. I validate my own experience. Being an entrepreneur is not easy. It requires me to step out of my comfort zone continuously. It requires me to show up even when I'm tired. It requires me to come up with new content and new ways to support people. Um, it just requires a lot, just like being a mother, just like being a wife or a husband or a partner. Life requires a lot from us, just like starting a new job. And so it's okay to meet ourselves where we're at and to just say, yeah, this thing isn't easy. It's not for the faint of heart. Wow. I feel you. I'm with you. I don't try to get rid of my pain. I don't try to get rid of my overwhelm. I don't try to get rid of my fear. I just meet myself where I'm at. And there's something in doing that. Oftentimes, the part of us who feel stuck, they don't want to be fixed. They want to just know they're not on their own. And that's been really true for me, and that's been really true for my clients. And oftentimes, just the process of meeting ourselves and being, hey, I feel you, I'm scared too, but I'm here with you, is what releases the wound. You're not on your own. I'm not going to abandon you. I'm going to be here with you every single step of the way, is what releases the wound. It's what releases the overwhelm. It's what allows us to keep going even when we're disappointed or even when we're not getting the results we want. For those of you who are familiar with Ho'oponopono, the Hawaiian healing modality, I recommend it too here. You know, I'm not going to go in it a lot because this would be it's going to already be a long live. But Ho'oponopono is 4 statements. And you can say them in what order you want, but essentially, as you say them, you release whatever wound or knot is there, and you bring yourself back to what they call the 0 point. So, I'm so sorry, statement 1. Please forgive me, statement 2. I love you, thank you. So you can meet this part of you that's struggling and be like, I'm so sorry you're struggling. Please forgive me for putting you in this position, for maybe not protecting you the way you would have liked. I love you. Thank you for coming forward. And you repeat that until something in you feels met. Our job when we're meeting our wounded part is to figure out not so much how to fix it or make this feeling go away, but what is it that this small part of us needs from me right now? What does it need from me? How does it want to be supported by me? And I swear to you, if you do that without agenda, without trying to fix it or make it go away, what you'll discover is the part of you, oftentimes just one company. They want love, they want support, they want friendship. They want to know that someone's got their back and that they're not alone in their experience. Our wounded parts are almost like unique individuals. When you think of yourself, when you go to a friend when you're struggling, you don't want them to fix your problem or take it away or try giving you advice. You want them to sit with you. You want to know that you've got your friend there. Same thing with your wounded part. They just want to know that you're there for them. So don't promise what you can't promise. Don't try to fix. Don't try to make the feeling go away. Don't have an agenda. Just be with yourself. And then when you feel complete, when you feel like you've hung out for a while, you might just say to yourself, hey, I'll come back later. Or hey, let's move forward. And usually what I tell people to do at that point is to reconnect then to that light, that you are and reconnect to your vision. So reconnect to your sovereignty and then ask yourself, what's my highest vision for my life, for my business? What is it I really want? What's the highest vision or transformation I have for the world, for humanity, for awakening this planet? What do I really want to share and bring the world? And what's my role in that? How do I do that? How do I show up for that? And then what's something I could do? Because oftentimes when I'm stuck and I meet myself at first, and the next level is I need to remember why I'm doing this. I need to remember why I'm sitting in this workshop, even though I'm tired and I'd rather be outside reading a book. I need to remember why I'm going live rather than reading a good book or watching a show on TV or any of these things. I need to remember why I'm doing it. I need to remember why I'm taking an hour every morning to respond to messages in Messenger and connect with my clients and respond to emails and invite people and do all of this stuff. Like, none of it is easy, none of it is comfortable. So I meet myself where I'm stuck, and then I remind myself why this is important, why I want to do it, what my vision is for my life, for the freedom I want, for the fulfillment I want. What do I want for the world? And how can I help the world? And why am I passionate about helping the world and helping healers and spiritual entrepreneurs find their way to impacting more people? Because the world needs it. The world needs good people who are doing great things in the world, making good money doing it, sharing that money, and doing good things with it. That's what the world needs, and I have a small part to play in that. And so oftentimes, once we've met our wounds, we've given ourselves support, we've essentially brought down our nervous system, because that's the scientific aspect of what I'm talking about. You give yourself support, you give yourself love, you validate your feelings. You're literally telling your whole nervous system, I'm safe, which allows for a release. So you do that, but what's going to get us moving is inspiration, is passion, is feeling the truth and the beauty of what we're called to share and do in the world. It's committing to not dying with our song inside us and not living a half-lived life. What gets me moving is not so much just meeting my wound, meaning where I feel stuck. What gets me moving is I want to serve. I'm here for a reason. I want to serve. I don't want to die with my gift in me. I want to share it with as many people as possible. I don't want to live my life halfway. I want to be bold. I want to step in that sovereignty. I want desire, inspiration, aliveness is what gets us to move beyond our overwhelm, move beyond our resistance, move beyond our fear into inspired action. And without inspired action, without vision, without mission, there's no transformation. There's no results, not for you and for the rest of the world. So that's my practice. If you try to force inspired action without meeting where you're stuck first, it won't work. You'll continuously sabotage yourself. If you don't meet your vision, your mission, the love you have for humanity and for what you want to bring, then you won't take inspired action. So you can meet your wounded parts, and I think that's important, but then you also have to step into inspiration and creativity. It takes both for real transformation and real success. So every morning, I do this sitting in the light practice, where I meet the light within, the light above, the light below, the light that's all around me, and I feel my sovereignty. I feel my calm center. I feel my vision. I feel why I'm here. I journal from that place of freedom, expansiveness, calm, confidence, certainty. And I step and I take action from having anchored into that sovereignty, into that vision, and knowing that I'm here to support myself, knowing that no matter what, I've got my own back. And that's what propels me forward. That's what's created my success. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be able to do what I do. I wouldn't be able to chat with you for 40 minutes now if I didn't have some kind of way to anchor into infinite possibilities, to anchor into my own mission, my own vision, and to support myself when I feel overwhelmed, small, afraid, because I do. All the time I do. So, well, not all the time, but regularly it pops up, and it will for you. That's just called being human, and that's just called stepping up. Um, so I'm inviting you to do that. I'm inviting you to find your own practice every morning, to anchor in your own light, to anchor into your own mission and your own vision, in your own center. And the reason I say this is because I think it's a lot harder to meet yourself from that place if you're not used to going there regularly. You want to have an easy, comfortable way to anchor there. And then you're able, when the shit hits the fan, essentially, internally, externally, then you have an anchor. Then you know how to hold yourself, how to connect with yourself. Yeah, Sharon's saying, it's so important to feel our feelings, to hold a vision for myself and for the world. Yeah, of still feeling the discomfort and still moving forward. Absolutely. So success is honoring our fears while anchoring in the good, while anchoring in the courage, in the certainty, and walking in trust, walking in faith, walking in mission and in vision of what we want to create. One small step at a time. That's what creates success. So if any of this resonated with you, if you're ready to step into a next level for your work and you want support in designing your own sacred, unique offer and marketing plan to attract your perfect client, to find your own easeful way of putting your message out there, then connect with me. I'd love to talk to you for an hour. It's not a sales call. If you want to work with me at the end and want to find out how to work with me, I will let you know. But this is you and I meeting for an hour, seeing what you're called to create and share with the world, and finding your own unique blueprints and paths to soulful success. Soulful success is alignment, loving what you do, transforming lives, making good money doing it, and doing it all with ease, with joy, because if it's not enjoyable, then it's not success. So if that feels interesting to you, and you're committed to really showing up in this world and taking that next step, then I'm committed to over delivering for you. And I'm committed to making sure that you leave that meeting feeling a completely different person and with significantly more clarity and confidence than when you stepped in. If that feels interesting, just put hashtag brainstorm in the comments, or DM me, message me on Messenger, and we will set it up. I hope this was helpful. If you have questions about this process or this practice, feel free to put them in the comments, or message me, and I'll be happy to help you out and answer any questions you have or show you how to do it. That could also be something we do in that soulful success activation session. I could take you through the process of sitting in the light and anchoring into your sovereignty and making decisions and moving through life in your business from that place of sovereignty. All right, guys, it was lovely spending almost 45 minutes with you. Have a wonderful rest of your week. And I'm not seeing any questions, so I'm going to call it a morning. It's almost afternoon for me. Have a wonderful day. Let me know what you think of this video, or let me know if you have your own practice of finding your center. I always love to hear what works for people. All right. Bye, guys.